Hi, this is Michaela, back with you with another conspiracy theory video. Today we'll be talking about the New World Order, featuring Nolan Udy and Grayson Carlton. Let's take it out to Nolan to explain to you what really the New World Order is.
The concept of a New World Order has emerged 3 times in the United States over the past century. Woodrow Wilson first sought out to create a New World Order after World War I, only to find that the world, as well as the United States Senate, was not ready for his brand of idealism. So this issue was just pushed to the side. Just a few years later, during World War II, FDR envisioned a new world order that would ensure greater peace and stability. As a result of his thought, an international body of United Nations was formed. After World War II, the topic of this new world order was slim to none to the public until President George H.W. Bush came to office. Bush Sr. and his administration revisited the New World Order concept during the Persian Gulf War in an effort to reverse Iraq's invasion of Kuwait in 1990. Furthermore, Bush explicitly mentions this New World Order twice while in office. First, when he says, "What is at stake is more than one small country. It is a big idea, a new world order, where diverse nations are drawn together in a common cause to achieve the universal aspirations of mankind, peace and security, freedom and the rule of law. A world in which there is a very real prospect of a new world order." He mentioned this on January 29th, 1991. Then on March 6, 1991, in Bush's speech to Congress, he says, "We can see a new world order coming into view, of a world in which there's a very prospect of a new world order," which obviously points to his thoughts of a new world order takeover. Although another president hasn't slipped up yet, there's been a recent event where President Trump sent out letters to past and current officials in Washington. Here's Michaela with more information on this topic.
November 30th, 2018 was the day that George H.W. Bush, former president, died from old age. December 6th, a few days later, was his funeral service. During the service, there was these envelopes passed out to these following families: the Biden family, Bush, Carter, Obama, and Pence family. When these envelopes were passed out, they were in shock and had crazy faces, looked on their faces. When the family received these notes, people started to think it had to do with the New World Order. I'm gonna put a picture in this video to show you what I'm talking about. To back this information up, there was pictures taken at the funeral service of the letters being handed off. So in the picture, there's an agent standing near where the body was moving out when the service was over, as people were standing. So the agent has the letter in her hand. They pass it off, they hand it to her. Then she looks at the document, and then she has a shocked look on her face, as you can see in the picture. Then they have the agents looking around, making sure that she noticed the envelope and what's inside of it. Then Jed looks at it. Jed Bush looks at the envelope and in shock and saying, "This is really happening? Like, what is this?" And he's saying, "Is this real?" He looks over, makes eye contact with the agent, and then so basically this kind of proves the situation of something iffy is going on in these envelopes. Do you think it's real or not? Here's some more information to back that up.
Also, China is leading the largest urbanization and infrastructure scheme development on Earth, already in its 5th year of the $900 million One Belt and One Road project, which includes the building of new roads, shipping lanes, and other building projects stretching over 65 countries in the Eastern Hemisphere are underway. While the details are unclear about this, the OBOR is financed by Chinese state banks with a modest strategic contribution by a new Chinese-backed Asian infrastructure investment bank in partnership with other institutions. So the importance of this is the idea of the OBOR is to literally rewire global trade from China throughout Asia, the Middle East, Africa, and Europe, creating a divide between the Western and Eastern hemispheres furthermore. Continuing, China is set to become a global green powerhouse. And this might not seem important, but you gotta think, with more of the green and the electric scheme of things, the faster innovation and more technology happens. And additionally, China is setting up the global pace on digital technology, which includes cashless payments. Major cities, up to 90% of all commercial and retail transactions in convenience stores and cafes are occurring through Alipay and WeChat. E-commerce delivery in large Chinese cities through Alibaba is the current and the largest in the world. One company, Alibaba, racked up the sales of $25 million in just one day, dwarfing the returns of so-called Black Friday and Cyber Monday in the United States, meaning that the United States is losing its economic superiority furthermore. Lastly, Chinese universities have been vaulting in the top international rankings. Two schools leapfrogged from well below the top 200 to almost in the top 30 currently. There are also 40 other universities that are not far behind, and they are set to enter the elite in the coming years, showing that the Chinese students are seeking out educations in top schools in North America and Western Europe, and soon they won't have to make this decision as their innovation and their own education has spiraled in a positive way.
It is critical to understand the key aspects in which this explosive drama has played out. 5 U.S. presidents and vice presidents received special envelopes during the most mainstream media hyped and misrepresented memorial service of our lifetime. How does this happen except without extremely purposeful design? Well, President George H.W. Bush was neither gentle nor kind to his nation, as the mainstream media eulogized him to be. Not only was he a pivotal rogue CIA operative in Dallas during the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, but he was also the prime mover behind the Oklahoma City bombing because of the savings and loan scandal fallout. The Bush crime syndicate was also a key architect and American co-conspirator that executed the state-sponsored false flag terrorist attack on September 11, 2001, as well as the well-orchestrated CIA coordinated cover-up. In spite of the ongoing funeral service of the century, the videographers were present at all the perfect locations to capture the video of the very moment when the notes were being handled and opened. The video footage was especially shot in such a manner to catch all the reactions of each VIP guest and their spouses, whether they saw the content or not. Next, various videos were dispersed to various YouTube channels to make sure that they were expeditiously uploaded and easily viewed on the internet. First of all, there is no other U.S. history event that remotely comes close to the stunning series of envelope incidents right in the middle of the next presidential funeral service. Therefore, it can be stated with absolute certainty that something very big has happened, and that something even bigger is to come. Everything points to the likelihood that President Trump put these political dynasties and crime families to notice this during the Bush state funeral. Whatever they saw, or when they heard about the contents of the envelope, each individual was floored in ways that were obvious and veiled. The Bush family reacted in horror, especially Jeb Bush. Laura was quite disgusted as well, although George W. Bush appeared to know that this was all coming. Hillary Clinton was her usual defiant self, and so was Michelle Obama. Barack couldn't hide his fear, although he tried very hard to, which is to be expected from a former coward-in-chief. As for the Bidens, they were both visibly floored by the whole affair, reflecting sincere disbelief that such thing could ever happen during a presidential state funeral, nonetheless. As for the Pences, the camera never really caught their point of revelation, so not much is to be said about their reaction. What's of paramount importance here is that all the political power brokers represent the New World Order, globalist cable. None of them ever saw a word that they didn't like. Most significantly is that this happened to them in a highly symbolic venue of the nation's capital. Deep State is supposed to have complete control over such power places as the National Cathedral in Washington, D.C. In light of these unique circumstances, it is fair to say that President Trump threw down the gauntlet.
Do you think the New World Order is a real thing? Comment down below. Explain to me why do you think it is or isn't. But we all know it's a thing and it's gonna happen.